So, right, is Alex Albon out of his depth at Red Bull? Twitter seems to be a big fan of Alex Albon. If you follow my Twitter, you'll probably know that I'm not his greatest supporter. So we're best to start with qualifying. Alex Albon is not a qualifier, my God. I don't think it's too harsh to say that he sucks at qualifying. So, to break it down, Austria, he qualified P5, 0.4 seconds off Max Verstappen. In the Styrian Grand Prix, he qualified 0.6 seconds off Max Verstappen in the wet, in P7. In Hungary, he qualified in P13, 0.9 seconds off Max Verstappen. In Britain, he was P12, 1.2 seconds off Max Verstappen. That's in regular time, that's about 2 months. The 70th anniversary Grand Prix, which of course was Silverstone again, it was only 0.5 seconds off Max Verstappen. The fact I'm saying only for 0.5 seconds off the pace kind of sums up his qualifying performances. And then in Spain, last time out, it was 0.8 seconds off Max Verstappen in P6. So I've worked this out. On average, he has been 0.7 off the pace in qualifying, and that's around some pretty small tracks. So at Spa, if he doesn't sort his qualifying out, it's going to be 2 seconds off the pace potentially, because that's a long lap. It's a 1 minute 40, 1 minute 45. He's been a total of 30 grid spots behind Verstappen this year from 6 races. So if Max is qualifying P3, on average, Albon is going to be in P8, which ain't good enough. Not in a Red Bull. Not if Red Bull want to try and challenge Merc, which varies track to track with whether they can really, but you've seen it in races like Spain. You can argue both the British Grand Prix that if Red Bull have a rear gunner, it's going to open the strategy up, and Albon just isn't there to do it, and it's really, really starting to affect Red Bull. To really put into perspective, this time last year, Gasly was obviously kicked out of Red Bull, replaced by Albon, and Albon has been out-qualified by Gasly 3 times out of 6, so it's 50-50. For Albon's sake, it needs to be 4-3 to him, because that AlphaTauri ain't anything special. It's not a bad car, but it isn't anything special. So, breaking down the races so far, Austria, he was gifted a podium. Max obviously had engine trouble. Max retired halfway through the race. Safety car brought Albon right back up to the grid. Safety car brought Albon right to the top of the grid. Had a free shot at a podium, and he was hit by Hamilton. Was unlucky, you could argue. Tried to go around the outside. Hamilton got a penalty. Styrian Grand Prix, he finished P4. I don't even remember, to be honest, how that went. And my notes here, I've just written fair play. Hungary, he finished P5, 70 seconds behind Verstappen, so pretty much got lapped. And Verstappen obviously crashed before that race even started, and came second. And Albon didn't even get a top 4 with the second best car on the grid. Britain, he came P8 in the race. I've written here appalling. Sainz had a tyre delamination, so did Bottas, and they both finished behind. So really Albon would have been P10 in a Red Bull, around a track that's always been half decent for Red Bull. And then the 70th anniversary Grand Prix, he finished P5, which people said was a good recovery. He did some good overtakes, but he overtook Raikkonen. If we break that down, he overtook a middle-aged man in an Alpha, pretty much on a country drive. I mean, it was an impressive move around the outside of Copse, was it? And he did that a few times. So he does have racecraft, you could argue, but at the same time, but he doesn't pick his battles very well. And I'm going to guess he's going to crash again pretty soon if he stays in that Red Bull. Oh, and obviously Spain last race out. I think I fell asleep halfway through that race. Not a great race, but Spain never really is. What have I written here? I've written shocking. It was done a little bit dirty on the tyres, but he finished again a lap down on his teammate. And actually finished behind Vettel, who had the deadest tyres on the planet at the end of that race. And he's in a dog of a car. And he's probably having his worst season. Is poor Vettel. Is the argument out there is that it makes up for his poor qualifying in the race, but does he? He is P6 in the championship with 40 points. Lance Stroll, Charles Leclerc is above him with 2 podiums in that dog of a Ferrari. And then Max Verstappen's on 95 points in second, got less than half the points of Hamilton. Well, yeah, he has got less than half the points of Hamilton. He's got less than half the points of his teammate, which is just appalling. Especially considering Max retired from the Austrian Grand Prix through no fault of his own. Pretty terrible. So, I actually thought it was more of an argument in this before recording this, but after going through it, for me the writing's on the wall, and his qualifying, he needs to sort that qualifying out, but whether he actually has the natural pace is yet to be seen, in my opinion. I personally, I'd drop him. I'd drop him after Belgium, depending on his race in Belgium, of course, but I would personally bring Gasly back. He had a rough year last year at Red Bull, but he's doing bits in that AlphaTauri, and I think he's earned a second shot at it. Other replacements, I guess you could bring Hulk back, Hulkenberg, but is that gonna happen? No, no, it isn't. It'd be amazing, because maybe he could finally get the podium in a Red Bull. That'd be brilliant. I'm all for Hulk coming back, but being realistic, it ain't gonna happen. Red Bull really have shot themselves in the foot, because Albon, he's a good driver, but he ain't great. Gasly could be great potentially. It's tough to say, but they've obviously got Max Verstappen, world class driver. He's better than great. He's world class, Max Verstappen. And who have they had in the last 5 years who have been great drivers? Danny Ricciardo and Carlos Sainz. And they let them both go. Now, Danny Ricciardo would definitely be getting podiums in that Red Bull. So would Carlos Sainz. But let me know what you think. Now I've said all this, Albon will go and win Belgium. Or he'll get a podium. I actually think he'll never get a podium. I don't think he's good enough. I think the mental pressure gets to him when the podium's on the play. He's bottled it twice, obviously. Could argue both his bottling the podiums were Hamilton's fault, but that's my take on it. I actually think he'll get knocked out of Q2 in Belgium, probably be about 2 seconds off Verstappen on an actual size track, and then he'll do a recovery to P6. I'm not sure I'm going to format this. It's been a long time since I recorded anything. Doing a bit of a channel rebrand. Gonna try and maybe do a weekly video, depending on life circumstances. Gonna try and get a bit of a setup going, if possible. Move to uni, so hopefully that will give me some time to make some videos. Hopefully once a week is the plan, or more. So yeah, let me know if there's any more topics that are contentious in F1 that are good to talk about. Turkey has been announced today, which is cool. There's not much to talk about there. It's just a cool track. Glad it's back. And yeah, see you soon.